Mel Kiper just dropped his final mock draft of the 2025 NFL draft season. It's a 2-rounder. We're going to go pick by pick, going over the selections. This is going to be a free look off ESPN Plus if you don't have an account there. Before we dig in though, click that subscribe button right now because we're covering the mock drafts. We're covering the NFL draft. We're helping you build your dynasty teams. But let's dig in here. Let's look at this mock draft. So here's the cover art for it. Scrolling down, Mel Kiper, the final mock draft. The thing about his mock drafts, I'll say this, is that the last few will give you a clue of some intel. Also, we all know he'll be big time wrong on some selections, but try to find that intel while we're looking through the mock draft. And we're going to scroll down here. Scroll down here, first pick off the board, Cam Ward. First pick off the board, Tennessee Titans. And this seems pretty evident since the pro day. Seems like it's pretty evident since the pro day. They shut down workouts for other players like Shedeur, Sanders, and company. And Cam Ward's going to be the guy. This is probably an easy selection to make for a mock draft. Cam Ward going to the Titans feels like a lock. It's hard to argue against it. Now, you may have a different preference of player, but predicting a player to go to a team, probably one of the easiest ones you'll make this year. Going down to the Browns, Travis Hunter. And there's a lot of leaks right now, and we saw Jeanty talk about this, that the Browns are looking at Travis Hunter, and they're going to pass on quarterback. Jeanty leaked that twice in the last week and a half. He first talked about how the Browns and Giants aren't looking at quarterback in the first round. And then it was yesterday or the day prior, he was talking about how the Browns were looking at Travis Hunter. Now we got Kiper talking about Travis Hunter to the Browns. And honestly, they're in a spot where they can either fill quarterback or that two damn good players looking at them with Hunter and Abdul Carter. And Hunter going to the Browns, that's something I'd look at. I'd look at Abdul Carter too. And over quarterback, that's something to patch up later. Those are two players that are not going to be looking at you every draft class. It just ain't happening. Hunter can play both ways. And if I'm drafting Hunter this high, I'm looking to play him both ways. He's an impact player. He can help you with two different positions. And that is very valuable. Very valuable. Looking at the Giants, Abdul Carter. So the thing is, you got two quarterbacks. You can see what happens with that. You got Malik Neighbors, and you got Abdul Carter here. And if you have a feeling that the Browns are going quarterback, or if they're letting it slip, and you're looking at Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, it's hard to let them slip because you can use either player. Abdul Carter's a beast. He's the top player. Him and Travis Hunter, I go 1A, 1B. And this is a great spot. Even if you don't think you need him because he's Abdul Carter. He's going to be a difference maker. He's going to be an impact player. This is a great spot. Now let's see where Shedeur, Sanders goes in this draft. Will Campbell going to the Patriots. Them building that offensive line. Getting Drake May extra time, some more protection. Just getting more talent there. Not the sexiest pick. But again, Will Campbell is going to be a monster. And he's been the top offensive tackle most of the draft. There's a couple others that you can argue with, and I understand, and I'll make that argument too. I'm not saying for sure, but I'm not saying that's my rankings. I'm just saying, hey, that's what consensus has been saying. Mason Graham to the Jaguars, it feels like a lock. This feels like the other lock pick to happen. Mason Graham to the Jaguars, unless they trade back. It's a fit there. Tremendous talent, top tier upside, top tier pick, top tier talent in the draft. Feels like it's a good fit. Ashton, Jeanty to the Raiders. He might be catching some rumblings. He might be trying for clicks. However, this team's built to take him on. You got an older coaching staff that wants to turn this around fast. You were hurting at running back anyways last year, and it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad last year. You had Mir Abdullah out back there. He was looking good, though. Mir Abdullah was looking good. Imagine how much better it would look with Ashton Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty going to the Raiders. Raiders fans, do you like this or hate this? There's a lot of good players on the board. It's a deep running back class. One of the deepest running back classes of all time. Going down to the Jets. Armin from Missouri comes off the board to the Jets here at number 7. This is a guy that I was thinking that could rival Will Campbell there at that spot. He's been a riser throughout the draft process. You're getting extra talent there to keep Justin Fields upright or whoever's going to be the quarterback of the future. This is a good talent. Highly athletic prospect at the offensive tackle spot. A big-time riser throughout the process. He's mean, he's nasty. Jalen Walker, linebacker, Georgia. Panthers getting talent here. I've seen them go a million different routes in mock drafts. As you know, I cover a lot of mock drafts here and also use the simulators a lot. I think this is a good talent. I think this is a good get for them. I think this is going to add some talent on the defensive side of the ball. Saints go Shedeur Sanders. I think you got a buffer here for the short term with them. You got some talent already on board, and you got onboard more talent. You're getting that cheap quarterback contract. You're getting him at 9th overall, a cheaper price tag, which is actually a considerable cheaper price tag than like 2. You got Chris Olave. You can push it downfield. Looks like you're going to be adding talent to this team at wide receiver. Right now, short term, you got Brandon Cooks. You got a buffer there with Carr, so you can allow him to develop and transition to the NFL game. You got a deep running back class right now. Not a horrible selection for the Saints. Something you got to think about. You had some injuries last year that was pretty bad, that you saw that depth chart not look so good. Shedeur Sanders says Saints in this mock draft. How do you feel about this, or you feel like they're going to go another direction? I believe Saints fans are going to say, hey, we like these other players. Tyler Warren to the Bears. I don't like Cole Kmet. I don't think he's got tremendous upside. I think he's a ho-hum tight end. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's bad to the point where he can't play in the National Football League, but I don't think he's got the upside to be a difference maker. I think Tyler Warren with Caleb Williams, with what they've built here, Ashton Jeanty's off the board, and you're looking for an impact on offense to help your young quarterback, this could be it. This could be a good fit. This could allow him to do some different things. This would be an upgrade at the tight end position, especially once he's developed to be the starter. This could be a good selection for them, and they got some extra picks in the second round where they can go other positions as well. So they can do the luxury right here, or they can do the luxury in the second round. They could definitely do that. I don't hate it. You could also go a different route, but we also have 2 offensive tackles off the board. We rebuilt that offensive line in free agency. There's some good defense left. You could definitely do that and get some edge rushers here. You could definitely do that. I understand we talked about these mock drafts. However, if you're looking for a luxury pick, the Bears will probably do one with one of these top 3 picks they got. Will Johnson to the Niners. I'm seeing this mocked a good bit to them. Now, before it was cool, Johnson was going a little bit later, and I've been arguing against that. He's a top 10 talent in this draft. Will Johnson is a difference maker. Will Johnson, I'd love him on any team. He's a player that even if you don't really have a pressing need at corner, you got to look at him. You can always use an extra corner that have this talent, of this magnitude, and just let him climb the depth chart as contracts come up with your other players. This is a talented cornerback prospect that could end up being a cornerstone of your defense down the road. To the Niners right here, and we have 2 offensive tackles off the board. So the player pool there lightened up a bit. I know tackle's been mocked there, but if it goes early, which they still may go tackle here, that is a money position. However, Will Johnson is a money talent. Cowboys go Marion Hampton at 12. This is a damn good running back prospect with a lot of upside. The caveat to this, the push to this, is it's a deep running back class. The Cowboys don't make sexy picks. I know like a lot of people like to talk about Jerry Jones and stuff. They don't make sexy picks, only when they fall to them. There's some wide receivers on the board right now that they can go. Defense is plentiful right now. They could still go offensive line, even though the player pool there is lessened. There's some other routes they could go here and then tackle running back a round or 2 later. They've also made some moves indicating that, hey, we're not going to reach for that. We're not going to overpay. But they're also moves saying, hey, we can also get a running back still. We're fluid in this draft. Marion Hampton to the Cowboys, that would be nasty. That would be a nasty running back for the future. That would be a running back that would be a difference maker for this team. Definitely a player they need. It's something that they could possibly do. But again, maybe their best bet is just to trade back, get a running back if they're looking at it like that, get some more picks, and maybe do something like that. But it's a deep running back class, one of the deepest running back classes of all time. That's something I bet they know about. I bet they've studied. And maybe second, third, fourth round, they get a decent talent there and able to really build up at other positions here. Going down here, Dolphins go Jahdae Barron, and good talent here at cornerback spot, getting more talent to their defense. He's been a riser throughout the draft process, especially in these mock drafts. I like Will Johnson better. I've seen mocks with him above Will Johnson, and I think the market jumped the shark there, but I don't think he's that far off to where he should be far behind. I think middle of the road here of the first round is a good spot for him. Colston Loveland to the Colts. He's not far off from Tyler Warren, if not up there, because the talent level between the two is very close. They're both good receivers, and you put Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren's situation where all the wide receivers transferred out, and he was like the only remaining option in the passing game outside of the guys who just transferred in, then you're probably going to see him get racked up with targets too. Colston Loveland's damn good at the catch point, strong hands, can get downfield, and this is going to really help this offense tick. And if Anthony Richardson's not the guy and you bring in a new quarterback, you're built at wide receiver, a very underrated wide receiver depth chart, and you got a damn good tight end here that's developing. Falcons go Mike Green here, outside linebacker. I like Mike Green a lot. I like him a lot. This is a steal here. I think he's a top 10 talent, like back end top 10, 12-ish range. You're getting him at 15 here. High motor, functional athlete, good nuanced technique coming off the rip here. Solid get here for the Falcons. Matthew Golden to the Cardinals. Are they going to go first-round wide receiver 2 years in a row? This will twitch up that offense, get them some speed. This will help Marvin Harrison Jr. Are they willing to do that? Because we got some good meat and potato picks on the board right now that can really help this team. Some players that are falling in this draft. Campbell is one of them. They may not need him, but Campbell is one of them. Regarded as a top 10, top 12, top 15-esque talent. Like, he should be going higher than this. And he's been mocked to the Cowboys a lot in mock drafts. This is a steal for the Bengals. This is a talented player that could help them out a lot. And honestly, this is at a point of the draft where if you get a talent like this in the late teens, early 20s, you just pull the trigger whether you need him or not. You can go to a bunch of different teams in this area, and you just make that selection. You just make it work later. You just let them fight in camp. You just put them out there, and then let them work up the depth chart. Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle, Texas to Seattle. Solid talent. And I'm expecting more of a tackle run in this draft, and I'm expecting more of an edge run in this draft in the first round. I'm not expecting talent to leak into the second round at those two spots. I expect these teams to be fighting for those edge rushers and tackles more than what the mocks are saying. Nick Emawari, safety, South Carolina to the Bucks. I think this is a good fit here. I think this is a great fit. The caveat to this is you got some talent second and third round, safety, cornerback that they can roll with, and maybe they use that first round selection on a different position. Outside of that, this is a great spot for him. This is a great spot for the Bucks. I'm not arguing against it. T-Mac to the Broncos. Bo Nix gets his wide receiver. He also gets a wide receiver that can push it downfield, that has a good catch radius, and that's going to really help his average depth of target downfield, help him push it downfield, and a good nuanced technical wide receiver at the catch point. Pittsburgh goes Derek Harmon, defensive tackle, Oregon here. And this is a Steelers pick, honestly. This is what you'd see the Steelers doing. Getting you a nice, stout defensive tackle. A guy that can plug it up the middle. Solid selection. Gray's Abel killed it at the Senior Bowl. His stock's been rising. You can move him up and down the offensive line, going to the Chargers. I think he's a solid offensive lineman. Not a super sexy selection, but a player that will help your team. He will help your team rather quickly. Going down the line here, Packers go Michael Williams, Georgia. I could see him shooting up the board quicker. I could definitely see that. This is a hell of a talent. I think this is a gift to the Packers. I think this is a good one for them. If I'm the Packers, I'm definitely pulling the trigger here. I think a lot of teams here in the 20s would be salivating to get him. I think this is a great talent that they're getting. Donovan Jackson, guard, Ohio State. He's been a riser in these mocks. I don't have him as the top guard, but I do have him up there. I like Booker more, but the guard position is rather light there's actually a big break off in tiers as we get into the second and third round. But Donovan Jackson here, if you're locked into getting a guard and tier offensive lineman, you got to do it early. You got to do it early or you're going to get sniped and have to wait. That is something you're going to have to do. So if you need one, you may have to pay up a little bit to do it because there's only a couple. Josh Connerly to the Texans. Offensive line to the Texans is something to look at for this team. Offensive tackles starting to get zapped up. Connerly got pushed around at the Senior Bowl a little bit. Not a bad talent. Not even the best talent for me on the board. But Josh Connerly, if you're looking at back end first round, early second round, that's really where he should go. That's where he's going in a lot of mock drafts. That's a position of need to fill. That could help you out. Rams going Jackson Dart. So the question is, when is that third quarterback coming off the board? And this mock is to the Rams. He's been mocked there a few times. There's potential for that, as they got to have a contingency plan. But you also look at the other options on the board. Can you pass on those options? And to make this pick, some of these options are going to slide down, and you're going to see them soon. Like Starks here, safety, 27 to the Ravens. Whether you need him or not, once you get to the late teens and 20s, even if you don't need him, you're like going to want to press that button because you're looking at a talent here, top 15, top 12 in any other draft class that's falling in the draft. Whoever selects him, and if he falls this far, it's going to be a huge gift. Going to be a huge gift for that team. And I can see a team like the Ravens stepping in and getting him. I can see a team trading up to try and get him. Like when you're doing a mock draft and there's no trades or movement, it's really hard for some of these players to go where they should compared to their talents. I could definitely see a team somewhere in the middle of the teens, late teens, trading up to get like a Malachi Starks. We have some other defensive players too falling in this board. I can feel it. Here we go, Donnie E. And he's going to be a good get in the back end of the first round for one of these teams. And he's going to go to a stud team, and he's going to help a stud team. A team that went into playoffs, a team that's very dangerous, and this is a good pick for the Detroit Lions. Donnie E sometimes don't fall this far in mocks. Sometimes he falls a little bit more, but this is a solid get for them. Commanders go Shamar Stewart, defensive end. I expect a defensive end run. I expect that to happen. Like when they start coming off the board, they'll all start coming off the board. Shamar Stewart to the Commanders. Good get for them. Good get for them. Buffalo Bills. Maxwell Harrison. He's been rising. He's either going to go early second or somewhere in the first. Really depends on where he's valued among the other players left on the board because there's some talent left. But again, if you're looking for cornerback, not a bad one to go after. Bills have some flexibility with this pick. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of routes they can go with. That's the thing about this. Chiefs, Josh Simmons. This is one of my guys. This is a top 10 talent that's coming back from a knee injury. Looked good at his pro day, especially on the bench press. Looks like he's coming back rather quickly. The Chiefs can wait on that. I would take him over Connerly for sure. This is an offensive tackle that, once he's back to full health, is going to compete for a starting role. He's a monster. This is a guy that is going to be a difference maker at 31 to the Chiefs. This might be more for the fit and also for the clickbait because this is a hell of a talent. I can't see him falling. Like, this is too much of a talent to let fall. Like, this is a cornerstone player for your offensive line for the future. Going down to the Eagles, James Pierce. Too much speed coming off the edge to fall this far. Just too much talent and speed to fall this far. I just don't see it happening. He might catch some rumors that there's some teams that are out and some other things that could be happening in this draft. But like I said, there's going to be a few players fall to the back end of this first round. Some of these money teams that are in it to go deep in the playoffs are going to get some gifts. They're going to get some gifts if it goes this way. Going to the first round, Browns get their quarterback from Louisville, older quarterback prospect, had some injuries throughout his career. The tape looks good, though. He's got a good arm on him. And a developmental quarterback that you're not spending an arm and a leg on. And if it doesn't work out, there's no sunk cost wasted. Nothing wasted. You can move on like that. You can move on. You don't feel like you have to wait another year because he's a first-round pick. Next, Jalen Milroe. I like him. I like him great for fantasy football. I question him more for real football. Second round, third round, fine with, though. I'm fine with having him back into your roster. He's got 2 quarterbacks in front of him that will help him develop. Jameis Winston will definitely help him and talk to him. That is something to look at, and that's a good quarterback to have on your roster for something like that. Going down here, and we go outside linebacker here for the Titans, UCLA. He steamed up the board. I usually don't see him go this high, maybe back in second round in a lot of these mocks, but the Jacksonville Jaguars go Mika Igbukwe, wide receiver from Ohio State. Technical route runner, has good size, just athleticism. He can separate. This is a gift here. This is a first-round wide receiver. He was a first-round wide receiver in last year's mock before he decided to stay and go back to Ohio State. Mika Igbukwe is a talented wide receiver. He's really going to gel well with Brian Thomas Jr. I have a hard time believing he gets out of the first round. If he does, teams are going to be salivating and trying to get back into the first round or get to the top of that second round to try and get him. Going down here, Raiders go linebacker Carson Swishinger from UCLA. Just a good talent. Just a good talent. Not a sexy talent, but a good talent to get. High probability that he helps you out, that he's not going to bust. A good player here. Luther Burton to the Patriots. I don't see him getting out of the first round either. He's a first-round talent, but there will be a first-round talent that leaks to the second round. There will be a couple of them. So there is a probability that a first-round talent that we like will be here in the early second round. This is a great fit for him and Drake May. That would be cash money right there, honestly. I think he'd gel well. We got a good wide receiver prospect here going there, and the Bears are in position to kill. Walter Nolan has been a riser throughout the process. It's hard for me to believe that he's going to fall to the second round. And if he falls to the second round, teams are going to be fighting to get him, whether they need him or not. Walter Nolan's going to be an early day 2 pick. If he goes to the Bears, that's a free gift. Free gift in the second round. Free gift. And they're in a position where they can splash with one of those 3 picks. The third pick's coming up soon. And we're going Thomas from Florida State. He got cooked a little bit at the Senior Bowl. But again, in the second round is fine. They're getting another cornerback prospect here. Bears go Travion Henderson. They're getting speed. They're getting another DeAndre Swift as talent, but maybe more upside. Maybe he hits more. He's got speed to burn. He's got upside. He's good in the passing game. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's going to help Caleb Williams. Elijah Arroyo is one of my favorite tight ends. Good athleticism. He's going to help out Justin Fields or the next quarterback, but a good get. Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle, Michigan. Tremendous talent here in the second round. He's a first-round talent. Tremendous talent here going to the 49ers in the second round. Trey Amos is one of my favorite cornerbacks going to the Cowboys. This is a good get for them. This is a tremendous talent. He's a first-round talent. Back-end first-round talent, though. 20s, 30s, somewhere around there. He's talented enough to go there. Even early second round. At 44, this is a good value. Another guard comes off the board for the Colts here, jacking up that interior offensive line. Booker's still available. That's my top guard. Benjamin Morrison's one of my top cornerbacks, especially for the second round. I think this is a great gift. Again, I look at him as a back-end first-round talent. So if you get him in the second round, which he'll be there in the second round of this year's draft, I think this is going to be a good get for whoever drafts him. So good selection there for the Falcons, according to me. Going down here, Tyler Booker. He's my guard. He's my guard. He is nasty. He's physical. He's strong. I have him graded as a first-round guard, and he should be the first guard off the board. There must be rumblings that some teams are lower on him than others. Tyler Booker going to the Cardinals, I think that's a tremendous value. Darius Alexander, defensive tackle, Toledo, falls a little bit. He's been a riser with some mock drafts. I think this is a great spot for him. I think Dolphins are getting a good player here with some upside. Defensive end, Ohio State going to the Bengals, stacking up defense here. And they really should be, considering they load up a bunch of money on their wide receivers and quarterback. Seahawks go Revel, East Carolina quarterback. One of my favorite cornerbacks in this draft. I like him in the second round. I like him a little bit earlier, but I value him in there. But if he goes a little bit later, I just look at this as a good gift to whoever drafts him. Broncos go Quinshon Judkins. And this is a huge get. He honestly, at running back, he's a first-round guy. And he may go in the first round of this year's draft. And I don't see him falling into the 50s. I look for him to be a player teams are looking to press that button on earlier. And I look at him as being a player that could be a difference maker for your team. He could end up being the most productive running back in this year's draft. If I'm a Broncos fan, I'm loving this. If I'm a Broncos fan, I hope they trade up for this. Jane Higgins going to the Seattle Seahawks here. They get a big wide receiver, good catch radius, killed it at the Senior Bowl. They're adding talent there. They lost some talent, and they're trying to get it back. Here we go. We're doing it right now in the second round. Going down, Nick Scorton, defensive end, Texas A&M to the Bucks. They're just killing this mock draft on defense. This is a talent that should be pushing for the first round easy. We're getting him here at 53. And at one time, he was being mocked in the first round. This is a good talent here. This is a good talent here that I'd be going after with many of these other teams. Jack Betch going to the Packers. He was good at the Senior Bowl. He's a good wide receiver. You can fit him into this offense. I think he'll be in this carousel wide receivers, fighting for reps and targets. Mason Taylor, tight end, LSU. He's pro-ready. He's pro-ready to help out a team. You're getting him in the second round versus those first-round tight ends. A tight end didn't fall to them in the first round, so making this selection here makes sense. Bills are up. Tyleik Williams, big body guy. He fell at the pro day. Big body guy. He's actually, to me, a first-round talent. He's in the second round, a lot of mocks. I would not be surprised if it goes a little bit earlier. But he's a big body talent, strong, good size, adjusts athleticism to him. That is a player that could be a big, big difference maker for you. Isaiah Bond's an upside play. He's very talented. We saw it at Alabama. We saw that at Texas. If you're swinging for the fences, this is a wide receiver to do it with because he could end up being a difference maker down the road. He could end up a bust, but again, the talent's so immense that you have to take that swing. Late second round is probably the right area to do it. He could go in the third round, though. Texans go Jalen Noel, so they're getting a twitched-up, speedy wide receiver. This is a wide receiver here that's always open. He could be that surprise wide receiver in the draft that was right under our nose that hits. He's one of the few that I see that in, and it's hard to pass up a twitched-up slot like this. He needs to go somewhere second, third round, day 2. And the thing about Jalen Noel, and you may not like him if you're a Texas fan going this spot, but this is ultimately telling me that, hey, there's a good chance that he goes in the second round. There's a good chance he gets drafted a little higher than expected. And old Mel's trying to tell us that. Going down, David Walker, outside linebacker, Central Arkansas. There must be some chatter that some teams like him or he likes him a lot. I have not seen him go this high, but I have seen him in mock drafts. Anthony Belton, offensive tackle guard, NC State. Just adding more beef to the offensive line for the Lions. Darren Porter is one of my guys. And I like him. I love pulling the trigger on him in mock drafts. I think he's a good fit for a lot of teams. A very talented prospect. Going to the Commanders. Xavier Watts is one of my guys at safety. I think he's going to be a difference maker in the second round. Falls to the third round, you're going to love him up. Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame's a tremendous player. Caleb Johnson to the Chiefs. If you look at that running back depth charts, you look at that, you look at the injuries last year, you can definitely see them adding a talent, and they're in a position to back in the second round where somebody's going to fall to them. They may even go Quinshon Judkins in the first round. They might pull the trigger on a player in the first round that makes an impact. That's a luxury pick. Running back's the position that fits that right now. That could happen first round, second round. Caleb Johnson is a guy that can carry the load. He's also a riser for Mel, for ESPN, and a lot of big media mock drafts. We've been talking him up. He's up there with like RB2 range in this draft. He's up there with Hampton. He's up there with Judkins. He's a tier A player. He's a top player. In a lot of drafts, a lot of years, he'd be one of the top running backs easy. It's a deep running back class. That's top talent you're getting here. This is a player that can be transcendent for the Chiefs. Going down here, Kevin Winston Jr., safety, Penn State. That's one of my guys. And I've been mocking him a million times. Whenever I'm mock drafting on the mock draft simulator, he falls, and I just have to hit that button, no matter what team I got. I like him. I think he's a tremendous talent. I look for the Eagles to just kill this draft. And maybe positions of not need, but it's going to be talent. I look for the Eagles to kill this draft and really just add more talent and be good for a long time. But that's it. That is the entire mock draft for Mel Kiper. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.